Welcome back to Quantreef.com. XRP sitting right around 1.0733, tucked in a tight little pocket after sliding off recent highs. This is one of those areas where the chart's genuinely undecided, so today we'll run through liquidity, support and resistance, VWAP, Fibonacci, fair value gaps, positioning, and try to map out the more likely path over the next several hours. Price is at 1.0733. And honestly the trend here reads neutral to slightly bearish. We're down about 0.88% on the day, and price has been unable to reclaim the 1.0809 swing high area. Momentum isn't aggressively bearish, but buyers haven't shown the strength to flip control either. This looks like a market waiting for a trigger rather than one with a clear owner right now. Session VWAP sits up at 1.08, and both anchored VWAPs from the recent swing high and swing low are also printing around that same 1.08 area. Price trading below all three tells you sellers have been in control of value since that swing formed. Buyers haven't been able to push acceptance back above it. Until price closes and holds above 1.08, this stays a lower value environment. The liquidation map shows a big wall just below at 1.064, sitting less than 1% away, and it's actually the larger pool of the two at over 41 billion in notional. Above, there's an even bigger wall at 1.094, just under 2% away. Markets tend to drift toward these dense pools because that's where stops and leveraged positions cluster, so don't be surprised if price probes one side before reversing. Right now the split favors the upside pool slightly on longer odds, but the downside pool is closer and more immediately reachable. On the panel right now, resistance above sits first at the 1H swing high, 1.0809, then the stop loss level at 1.08981. Below, support shows up as target 1 at 1.0623, target 2 at 1.04076, and target 3 at 1.01922. Given price is closer to the downside cluster, I'd lean toward that side getting tested first. A reclaim back above the swing high would be what invalidates the bearish lean, and stops likely cluster just above 1.0809 and below 1.0623. Above price, there's a daily bearish gap from 1.0706 up to 1.0955, already nearly 98% filled, so it's mostly done its job. Further up, a 4-hour bearish gap sits between 1.096 and 1.1039, completely unfilled and a real magnet if price runs that far, and another higher one near 1.1315, partially filled. Below, there's a bull gap from 1.0622 to 1.077, almost fully filled already. These gaps get revisited the majority of the time, so don't be shocked to see price dip back into it. Using the 4-hour swing from 1.0623 up to 1.0928, price is sitting right on the 0.618 retracement near 1.074, just a fraction above the current price. That level's acting as a pivot right now. Lose it and 0.786 near 1.0689 becomes the next test. Reclaiming 0.5 at 1.07755 would shift the tone back toward the 0.382 level. The card prints N81, HTS 49, and that gap between them tells the story. Readiness is decent, but the higher timeframe score is dragging things down. Trend and structure at 66 looks constructive, institutional positioning at 74.1 is actually strong, but macro regime at 37.4 and order flow at 39.4 are pulling the other way. When trend and positioning disagree with macro and liquidity like this, the honest read is neutral. There's no clean consensus yet. Retail is 72.75% long, and top accounts are even more long at 76.62%, though top position size long drops to 63.12%, so size is more balanced than headcount. The 4-hour taker split is nearly even, 51.4% long versus 48.6% short, with roughly 0.13 billion on each side. With everyone leaning long, a squeeze would most likely come from the downside if that 1.06 for wall gets swept first. Given how close price is to the 1.064 downside pull, and that it carries the larger notional, I'd lean toward that getting tested first. Reach odds put it at 69% over 24 hours versus 21 for the upside wall. A sweep there that holds could fuel a bounce back toward 1.077 or higher. Fail to hold, and 1.04076 opens up. But remember, XRP largely takes its direction from Bitcoin. A Bitcoin liquidity sweep can override this setup entirely, so check Bitcoin's own map before leaning either way here. The bullish case wants a fade of a sweep down into 1.064, entry around there, stop at 1.04, with target stacked at 1.0839, 1.08725, and 1.0873, though the risk-reward on that one is under 1, so size accordingly. The bearish case fades a sweep up into 1.094, stop at 1.12, targeting 1.0623, 1.04076, and 1.01922, with a cleaner risk-reward near 1.22. Confirmation either way comes from how price reacts at those pools, not before. XRP's parked at a real decision point, and whichever side takes its liquidity pool first probably sets the tone for the next leg. If this kind of layered read helps, give the video a like and subscribe for more. Quantreef.com runs this exact structure, probability, and liquidity framework across more than 100 coins, and there's a 7-day trial if you want to dig into it yourself. As always, this is for educational purposes only and isn't financial advice.